Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture.
And welcome to Saturday Morning Makes. This is my episode 13 for 2024.
Hey friends, welcome to Saturday Morning Makes. It has been a week or so since I've been able to share anything. And just, life happens, things get crazy, that sort of thing. But I did want to share with you the few things that I've been working on. For those of you who are unaware, April is halfway to Halloween, so I celebrate that as a holiday in and of itself. And I do it throughout the whole month. So there's a little bit of back and forth in terms of the actual day that's halfway to Halloween, if it's April 30th or May 1st, but I just celebrate the whole month of April. So I have some projects that are in that regard, and some I just wanted to use up some of my stash, which I have been doing a lot lately. So I'm going to scoot these out of the way, and I'm going to start with these because that's what I feel like you can see the most. So I will start with this. So I literally have just been pulling things out of my stash, and this cream colored and black striped panel was in my stash. So I pulled it out, and then I got, let me see, a couple other items to go with it. I wasn't sure what direction I was going, but I love this background stamp. I can never remember what it's called. I know it's on here somewhere. There we go, there it is. It is called Petal Play. I purchased it from Hello Bluebird sometime last year, and I did kind of a grungy background stamp with that in gold on the black and white, and then I went around the edges with some gold embossing powder, and I will show you that embossing powder. It is from Imagine Crafts. I don't know if they still have their line of embossing powders or not. I know that they were phasing them out, but this is the one I used. Obviously, you can use any gold. You can use any color that you want. I just like the gold. So I did the stamping, and then I went around the edges just with my ink pad, the sticky ink. What is that called? Versamark, which is also through Imagine, by the way. And then I just dipped my card into the embossing powder, and then I did these beautiful edges. And then I came back in with this stamp, which you can barely see. And I did just a little bit of swirls in the embossing powder as well around the edges. You can't see them very well, but I also did the inside. And then in terms of this Death Moth, it is from Visible Image, as is this Swirly Flourish stamp. And this is the Glimmer of Light stamp. It's this big Death Moth. I love it. Look how big that is. It's so big. I mean, look, it really is so prominent on the front of this card. And then I use the mid-size to add some Death Moth detail to the inside as well, because there's the large one, there's a mid-size, and then there's the small silhouette. So those are the products that I use. Now the dies that I use to cut it out, I use this larger of these rectangle dies to do the panel, and then I did this second largest to do the inside panel. I just like it to be nice and clean. You can always just use your cutter, whatever cutter you have. You don't have to use a die to do that kind of thing. I just like the clean edges that it makes. But then, of course, I layered it up on some different colored cardstock. I've got a black, and then another cream, and then a black card itself. And then, yeah, that is that card. I don't have a sentiment on it yet. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with it. I don't know, like, what the purpose of it is yet. But I did want to say I also used the clear emboss from Imagine on the Death Moth itself. I stamped in VersaFine Claire Nocturne, which again is from Imagine, and then I heat embossed it with the clear, but I just liked it as that embossing powder built up. I just liked it, and before I know it, the whole thing was covered, and I just love that look. I did go around the edges with my little brush, these little brushes that I shared earlier this week, and I just used the dough ink from Pink Fresh Studio, and I just kind of went around the edges so that the few places where there was cardstock still showing where it wasn't heat embossed, you can see that I have some ink there. So it's just a subtle effect. And then of course I went along the corners as well and up the edges some with the same ink color, and that's the ink color that I stamped inside. So that is that one. If you guys have thoughts or suggestions on what this particular card could be used for, let me know downstairs in the comments. But that is that one. And next I have these two fun Frankenstein-esque monster faces. I think they're adorable. These I created with the dies from Anna White. She is one of the designers for Impression Obsession. I'm looking for the dies right now. I know I have them out, only I'm not seeing them. Oh, here they are. I apologize. So she released these last year. I think it was in the summer. This one is called Monster Face, die 1250Z, and this one is Edges 1, die 1240YY. So, I mean, you could use these as any number of things, right? They don't have to be hairlines or anything like that, but that's just the way I like to use them. I think it's just fun like that. I have a couple other pieces that are cut out with this. I mean, they can be whatever you want them to be. But this guy has the little dental die, if you will, and this one has that kind of swirly, loopy die. I don't know what to call it. And then all kinds of facial features, right? There's different sizes of the circle, 1, 2, 3, and then the pupil, and then there's 2 sets of teeth. There's eyebrows, 2 funny gaping mouths, a tongue, and a scar. And I just think they're so much fun. And I have so many of these die cuts left over from last year. And I did do the bases. I used this same die. And I just cut out a variety of different sizes. And at the time, I just literally went through my stash and spent hours and hours just die cutting. And so I still have a million. And I don't have any more bases. These were my last 2 bases, which is why I went ahead and pulled them out and put them to use. But I have a bunch of eyes and mouths and scars. I have all of that die cut out already. So that is those 3. And then next I want to share, I'll just bring them in one at a time. I'll start with this one. This was my first one. So this is an embossed acetate pocket shaker that I stitched. So this one has so many different elements. So I don't know if you can see that embossing on there. I'll show you the embossing folder that I used. It was this one. It's from Spellbinders SES030. Let me move these out of the way so I have a little more room. So there are 5 of these tags. This is the only one that's acetate on both sides. But the reason I did these was A, to use up the acetate, and B, to use up shaker bits from other companies that are no longer in business, and to use up my stash and to create space for more products from This Calls for Confetti. So it actually filled several purposes by creating these. So again, the back side has the embossing. The front side, I don't know if you can really tell or not, it's acetate as well, obviously, but it's just clear. And then I stitched them together. I am not a good sewer, y'all. I just am not. I've said it before, it's a skill that I'm definitely working on, but I am not there yet. But I could not even tell you where these came from, the bits inside. I don't even know anymore, because I probably went through 20 containers of shaker bits, and I just mixed them together, and I just created fun mixes. So you can see there's little flowers in there, there's stars, there's a butterfly, there's all kinds of different things in there. And the colors, they're just so bright and fun. I just thought it was a good time. So that is that. I added the paper to the top to close it off. And then, of course, I stitched it on as well. Again, evidence of my poor sewing abilities. And then I had these little bits in my stash. I've shown you guys that before, where I take like frames and things, and I use what we would normally trash, right? For instance, this is my black scraps. I will use this edge as an edge, right? So say I wanted to add something to the end of that. I could add that little stitching detail, or that little scallop detail. It almost looks like it's pinked instead. or if I wanted it on the longer edge, I could do that. So you can see how these can be just as useful and just as effective as a die. Because it still was a die cut, right? It's just is that the negative part of the die cut? I'm not even sure. But it's typically the piece that we throw away. So all that being said, that's what this is. And I just trimmed them down and I kind of piecemealed them in behind. It's not perfect. It's actually kind of messy work, but I think it's cute. And then this whole little scene here is with these dies from Spellbinders. I believe this is Vicky Papiano as well. It is Spellbinders S4-1107. I believe this was on clearance when I got it not long ago. This is one of the newer items in my stash. Excuse me. And of course, just die cut using my scraps again, and then I just kind of pieced it together. And it's very kind of subtle because there's so much going on in the packet and whatnot. But these the little trims to me kind of emulate clouds, and then the branch and whatnot. And it's just happy springtime. I felt like it was happy springtime. So there's that one. This one is similar. It has the stars. This is from Spellbinders as well, SES016. And it's very subtle. I don't know if you can even see it on camera. The stars are, you can see on here, the stars are kind of, they look like they're really close. But then when you emboss it, they're fairly far apart. But then I just used white on the background. And then I added these little gray edges, same as the white. I just added that just to, I don't know, I just felt like it needed to be kind of enclosed in some way, kind of bordered, or I don't know. I don't know how to express what I'm trying to say. I just felt like it needed containment. Like this is the end of the image. I don't know. And then these little border trims also emulate clouds. And then the same thing. I just die cut these pieces and created the little scene. And I used my little pickup tool from This Calls for Confetti. It was very helpful in placing all of these tiny little pieces. And then I used some embossing. No, what is it? Why does this happen to me? This stuff, crystal glaze on like the spots and the eyes and the beak and stuff. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's like little happy clouds in there. There's little rainbows, and there's hearts. There's all kinds of little things in here as well. But that happy little spring mix just reminded me of, like, I don't know, like a sky, which is why I used the stars. But again, I just felt like it was springy and happy, and I felt like the birds fit there pretty well. So that is those two. Super cute. Now this one, I used that new stamp from Stamps by Judith. I actually colored it up twice. And yeah, I just think it's adorable. So this particular mix is, again, it's from several different mixes. I can't even remember the companies. I want to say one is Sassy and Crafty, and one is, I think that the little baubles are from Twiddler's Nook, if I'm remembering correctly, and the other, the big yellow pieces and whatnot, are from Doodle's Paper Playground. They're sparkle blends from Doodle's Paper Playground. So this particular embossing folder is this one. It's the E3D-030, and that's what embossed this piece of acetate. And then again, that stamp is from Stamps by Judith, and I have it right here. Super, super cute. His name is Mr. Hare. I love it. It's adorable. Not sure what I'm going to do with this one, but it will find a home on something. It might even become an ATC. Let me see what size that is. Oh, it's just under 3.5 and just over 2 1/4. So I think I could make that into an ATC, and I might. I just might. Oh, I also wanted to say that all of these were die cut using this tag die from Whimsy Stamps. It is I think it's called Mini mini slim tag die set, and it is on the last chance list, so it's going quick. This is probably, it's one of my most used tag dies, if not the most used tag die. So there's that. And then I also have this one. This one has a more wintry vibe. I use this embossing folder again from Spellbinders, SES039. I love that Fair Isle kind of Nordic feel to that sweater. And then you can see that this one on here, because you don't get to see the full design together, it looks kind of like an Aztec blanket. That's what it reminds me of in this context. But I know that it's not, so I found some blues and greens, a winter mix, and then I had these already in my stash. Both of these snowflakes. These are from a die from Stampin' Up. It's, I don't even know, 7, 8 years old now. I know they don't have it anymore, but I will continue to use this die because it's absolutely beautiful. Now these stamps, the trees, the bird, the sleigh, the moose, all of that are from, I have it out here, from My Favorite Things. I purchased the set last year. Here we go. It's Merry Moose. It's Yuzu-024. I don't know when it was released. I don't know if it was new last year or not, but when I saw it, you know, when something's released doesn't necessarily have an impact on my appreciation of it. I just like what I like. So it could be 20 years old. It could be released yesterday. It just, you know, doesn't really matter to me. But again, the embossed acetate with a solid white back and topper as well, and stitched it together. It's another little trim that I used from my stash, and yeah, that's the whole card. All of the ties and trims and ribbons and stuff at the top are again just from my stash. So I love to be able to pull things together like this, just with very few like newly stamped or cut images. They're just, everything just kind of falls together. This one is part of Halfway to Halloween. I'm going to scoot these out of the way. This is Stampin' Up! Paper. This embossing folder is this guy, SES-E3D-056. I think it's called Floral Medallions or something like that. I can't remember, but it's really, really pretty. And you can see that embossing on here. This actually was the second one that I made. So I did this first one with acetate on both sides, and then I jumped to this one. I just thought it was beautiful. I love this green, and so it was this folder, and then this green paper is what kind of brought the rest together. And I found this in my scraps, and then I remembered, oh, I have these beautiful pumpkins from Tim Holtz, which are these. This is, does it have a name? Stamps, and I'm sure that it, I think these have numbers. THMM127. This is one of the sets that he collaborates with Joann's for, and it has the stencil as well. I keep the stencil separate, but the chevron and the grunge stencil, great stencil. Yeah, but then I stamped and colored all 4 images up. I used my Ola markers to color them up. Used a little bit of that crystal glaze. Is that what we decided it was called? Yes. Use that on the eyes and all the facial features. I didn't on this guy just because he's on the back, and I didn't want him to stick to anything because these have a tendency to stick. So, but that is that. And I think that's all I have to share with you today. But halfway to Halloween with this guy. Halfway to Halloween with my little Frankie tags. Well, they're not tags. I don't know what they are, to be honest. They could be used as card fronts. They could be used as cards themselves. Just mount them to a base. Any number of things. And then, of course, this guy also is very creepy. That death moth. I think death moths are beautifully creepy. I wanted to share with you this art journal collage that I did the other day for Halfway to Halloween. It was my kickoff for the holiday. And if I can find the page, right here. It's a collage, so it was not intended to be a scene, because I know some people will look at that and go, what? That's chaos. It makes no sense. It's not supposed to make sense. So I actually did a video for the Whimsy channel as well as for mine, and I will try to link to this as well. But again, halfway to Halloween, so just some of my favorite Halloween things on there. Love a jack-o'-lantern, love a skull and crossbones, a little ghost, creepy trees. Yeah, the grungy background. Yeah, it's just fun. So I wanted to just share this real quick, but there is a video. I did not make this weekend. But I just thought I would share in case y'all hadn't seen the video. And if you want to, you can hop over and watch it. I would much appreciate that. And if you've not hopped around to see all of the other wonderful makes that all the other makers are sharing this morning, I would encourage you to do that. Just use that hashtag SatMornMakes, and you should populate, or that hashtag should populate a playlist. And then you can go and look on YouTube. You can do the same thing on Facebook, Instagram, probably Pinterest. I don't know. I don't know about the other social media platforms, but give it a try. There's so many different types of art. There's so many different makers, and we all have different styles, and we like different genres and different mediums, and there's just so much to see. So I would encourage you, especially if you're jonesing for some inspiration, hop around, hashtag SatMornMakes. Definitely hop over, pardon me, to Miss Jillian Norwood of Greenwood Girl Cards. This is her baby. She calls us her co-host, but this was definitely her brainchild, and I'm so glad that she brought it to life. And it has definitely brought joy to my life, and it's one of the things that I look forward to every week. So I thank you guys for spending a little bit of time with me on this beautiful Saturday morning. It's about 50 degrees here already this morning in North Carolina. We're going to get up to the mid-70s with loads of sunshine, and I'm so excited for it. Love you. Until next time, mwah, I'm out.